Good day. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times for Thursday, October 22, 2020. For today's editorial, USAid grant. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It has long been fashionable in some circles here to regard the real or imagined involvement of the United States in Philippine affairs with disdain, an attitude that has grown somewhat during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic due to the large amount of loans taken on by our government from institutions such as the US-led World Bank. The US, according to some opinions, simply treats the Philippines as a tool in its larger, mildly imperialistic geopolitical goals, to the ultimate detriment of this country's sovereignty and overall well-being. It is true that the relationship between the US and the Philippines is complex and has certain problematic aspects, but focusing on controversial issues or creating controversies where none exists in some cases overlooks the reality that much of what the US does in and on behalf of the Philippines has immediate practical benefits for the country. For the sake of keeping Filipinos properly informed as well as fairness, it is as important to acknowledge these as well as the more troubling issues that sometimes arise. One recent example of useful US beneficence was announced on Tuesday by the US Agency for International Development, or USAid. Through the agency, the US government has given the Philippines a $3.5 million or 170 million peso capacity building grant to improve disaster response in high-risk areas of the country. Through the aid, which is targeted at communities in Metro Manila, Northern Samar, and Maguindanao that are highly prone to frequent earthquakes, typhoons, and floods, USAid seeks to help boost the capacity of community leaders and local governments to mitigate disaster risks, improve early warning systems, and develop better protocols for more rapid disaster responses, the agency said in a statement issued through the US Embassy in Manila. Among the specific initiatives are a program to help train evacuation center managers to organize safe evacuations that include safeguards and social distancing given COVID-19, and protocols for organizing USAid partners to augment disaster relief logistics capabilities to efficiently deliver aid to areas affected by calamities. USAid noted that the 2019 Asia-Pacific Disaster Report estimated the Philippines' multi-hazard average annual loss at $20 billion, with 75.8% of the total population living in high-risk areas. The latest grant brings the total USAid contribution to various disaster resiliency and risk reduction programs in the Philippines over the past 10 years to $340 million. That's about 16.5 billion pesos, benefiting at least 100 cities and municipalities across the country. Through this assistance, we hope that Filipino communities are able to prepare, mitigate, and recover quickly from the negative impacts of natural disasters, U.S. Embassy Charge d'Affaires John Law commented. As a friend, partner, and ally of the Filipino people, we are proud of our partnership with the Philippine government and the great strides we have made to boost the country's resilience against natural calamities. Cynics may be tempted to engage in whataboutism on hearing this news and dismiss it as a minor bit of largesse meant to buy our silence on other perceived issues such as US military presence in and around the Philippines, or the US using the Philippines as a pawn in its superpower rivalry with China. Taking that position on the USAid grant, however, is not only unfair, it is simply not very sensible. Thanks to geography and economy, the Philippines is one of the most at-risk countries in the world for natural disasters, including the effects of climate change. While we have greatly improved our ability to protect communities and respond to disasters over the past decade, it is still the reality that even minor natural hazards, such as the tropical storm that passed over central Luzon just this week, have an outsized impact on the country. Without the assistance of agencies like USAID and its counterparts in other countries, the outcomes of frequent calamities would be much worse than they already are. Relationship issues with the US or any other country should be taken on their own merits, or lack thereof. While there may be contentious matters that need to be resolved, that should not detract from actions that are clearly compassionate and benefit the country. And that's the editorial for Thursday, October 22, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to the voice of the times.